Esto se está poniendo cada vez mejor y llegamos al espacio de yo contexto. Y quiero que aquí todas nos atrevamos a romper el status quo, como las mujeres que nos van a acompañar en esta sección. La primera que quiero presentarles es Yelitsa Jan Charles, que ella es fundadora de la empresa Healthy Roots Dolls. Ella me encanta porque quiso romper el status quo en donde a partir de su experiencia sentía que la comunidad afroamericana no estaba siendo representada en los juguetes. Y ella a través de esta muñeca ha tenido un gran impacto social y de inclusión. Después vamos a ir con Silvina Moschini. Ella es emprendedora, conferencista y experta en tecnologías disruptivas. Es fundadora de Transparent Business, que es la empresa considerada el primer unicornio rosa. También es fundadora de SheWorks, que es una plataforma digital que justamente atiende la problemática causada por la brecha de género a través de la tecnología. Y gracias a nuestro aliado Facebook tenemos a las últimas dos ponentes. La primera es Divya Chopra, que es líder de marketing global para impacto económico en Facebook. Y ella es súper experta en la creación de programas de marketing basados en datos para respaldar el crecimiento y cómo justamente podemos tener estrategias para nosotras pymes poder seguir creciendo a nivel mundial. Y bueno, cerramos con Cecilia Volado, que es fundadora de CUSA. CUSA es un proyecto de inclusión que justamente tiene el motivo de brindar un espacio para facilitar el desarrollo económico de las mujeres rarámuris de una manera responsable, inclusiva y sobre todo que les permita generar ingresos e independencia a través de compartir su increíble riqueza cultural. Así que las dejo con estas grandes mujeres y nos vemos en un ratito.
Hi, my name is Yelitsa Jean Charles, and I'm the CEO and founder of Healthy Roots Dolls, along with a few other things. Before any of that, I am a student. I challenge myself to be a student of the world and learn from my experiences and of the experiences of others. And I'm sure many of you can relate, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. I want to thank Victoria 147 for the opportunity to speak to you all today about topics that I am incredibly passionate about. It is important for me to do purposeful work, influencing women and young girls to be change and create change, so I hope to achieve that with you all today. Growing up, my parents had many ideas around who they wanted me to be, mainly a doctor or a lawyer, and I always knew that whatever I did, I wanted it to be beautiful. As I grew up, I decided I wanted to be impactful because of my own experiences growing up as a Black woman. I'm a Haitian American woman living in America, and my parents immigrated to the United States when I was younger, and so that makes me what you would call a third culture kid. Growing up in a house, eating the plantains, eating the rice, practicing my native tongue, but going to school and debating typical American pop culture topics with my American classmates. It sounds insignificant, but these little details and experiences are the kinds of things that shape your unique attributes and who you are as a person, giving you a perspective that nobody but yourself will have. These were the kinds of experiences that defined me as a person, helped me create my business, and have given me context through purpose. How I found my purpose is in believing in the unique responsibility of artists to be socially aware and culturally competent. We create content that will be viewed and consumed by millions of people. And if you knew that your work had the potential to impact and influence for generations to come, wouldn't you want to make sure what you created was meaningful? One of my mantras in life is, and I hope that you guys take this with you, we need innovation, not repetition. And most importantly, we need social impact. And that's how I found my purpose in the work that I'm doing now. It is not enough to come up with a good idea. Those are not rare, and if you proposed every idea that you came with and you chased it down, you went out and worked on it, you'd find that you don't always reach the end. We all have projects that we've started but haven't finished. But the ideas you can personally invest in, those are the ones that you continue to build regardless of if it makes you money, because you're mission aligned with achieving the unique goal or value prop. Those are ideas worth pursuing. In my undergrad, I studied illustration with a concentration in gender, race, and sexuality at the Rhode Island School of Design. I was challenged to think creatively and problem solve in all of my projects. It's how I ultimately came to create a beautiful little doll with a big mission. My work focused on representation and diversity. I told my story and my experiences with colorism and racism in my work through my social justice work on my campus. I realized that I need to take this passion and invest in something tangible with the ability to influence beyond my time on this earth. So I redesigned a fairy tale character, Rapunzel, and I turned her into a little brown girl with beautiful kinky hair to show brown girls that they could be princesses too. And my classmates asked me if I had thought about pursuing this as a doll, and I hadn't because I wasn't thinking big just yet. The idea had never crossed my mind, but this is when I learned that you can't say no before you can say yes. I then went on to do early market validation by starting a conversation with friends on Facebook. They talked about the dolls they had growing up, and I quickly discovered that it was a shared common experience. From there, I was able to receive a grant from my institution to develop my concept for a doll that accurately represents the beauty of our diversity while teaching girls to love themselves just the way they are. And that doll is called Zoe from Healthy Roots Dolls, and that's what I've been pursuing ever since. Much like now during COVID, the early stages of building my business were incredibly challenging. What helped me continue was my passion for product design and meaningful change towards my purpose, the liberation of Black girls. Many businesses have had to pivot as we change to meet the new way of life that we're currently living, in ways that we could not have anticipated. I didn't think we'd be inside this long, you guys. I personally saw this as an opportunity to double down on investing in my personal development and relationship building. But in 2018, I actually spent most of my time minding my damn business. And I mean that literally. I actually spent the whole year working on my business heads down. I have been able to get to this point where I am now, where I can focus on personal development and what the future holds for our products and our company in terms of delivering an influential experience for the next generation, because I took the time to step back and focus on what my company needed, which was me. That was an interesting time. Definitely didn't anticipate all the growth that I was going to be experiencing, but I knew that it was worth it. So because we are focused on new meaning and a new me for this conversation, I want to share 5 principles that I use to navigate life and build a purpose-driven business. So the first thing that I always share is focus on yourself. I know that sounds like something you're probably already doing, but take time to step back and ask yourself, here's the time that I have available, and here's how much time I actually give to me to focus on my personal development, the things that I want to do, and the things that I need. Take time for yourself. I know during COVID it's very, challenging to balance all the new things that we're dealing with, from working on Zoom and all that stuff, but having that schedule really helps you. And so for me, I hadn't taken that time for myself in the past. I spent all day working, but then I, told myself, we're going to turn off our laptops. Once I send this email, that's it. So I always tell female founders how important it is to focus on yourself, because that helps you invest in yourself long term. And when I did that, I was able to find some more clarity, some more calm, because running a business is not easy. There are going to be so many problems, but just because you burn, you can't burn, how do they say it? They say you can't burn at both ends of the candlestick, because then you won't have anything left. And so the problems that I was dealing with, whether it was figuring out our marketing or figuring out our supply chain, those problems were still there even if I stayed up till 2 a.m. working on it. So having to tell myself to step back and carve out that time for myself and not allowing myself to be distracted was really important. So then the second thing is focus on your business, which I think sounds contradictory, but it's just about creating time for you and creating time for your business. And I think part of that is about, it's so easy when you're building a product, because you're very much married to it and it's part of you, to think that it is part of you. And I think it's really important to separate yourself from your product, from your company, and not allow that to consume you as your identity. You shouldn't be talking about your business 24/7. You should pursue other interests. So create time to focus on yourself, and then create time to focus on your business. And by focus on your business, what I implemented was seeing where in my schedule I was allowing myself to slip. Like, you don't need to hang out and go to parties all the time, but you do need to be more intentional about the activities that you pursue for your business, whether that's strategically picking investment conferences or things like that to go to, where you're likely to find potential investors, potential mentors, new contacts. And so I took time to do research on that, and then allocated time to focus on different buckets for my business. So then the third thing that I practiced was only doing the things that I want to do. I think it's very easy for us to practice FOMO, which is, oh, everyone is doing this or everyone is going here, but that's not for you. I think when you take the time to ask yourself what you actually want to do, and part of that is actually about figuring out what works best for you as a person and deciding what you want your future to look like. So sitting down and asking yourself, here are my goals. How do I get here? And then figuring out what that looks like, and that helps you figure out what you need to be doing. So I would have my checklist of goals for myself and goals for my business, and that would help me determine what I wanted to do. And so if any time I was, proposed an opportunity that sounded like it would be great, but didn't fit on my timeline for my personal development or my business development, I would turn it down. Or if I looked at my schedule and decided, maybe I'm doing too many things on the business side, let me find some time to make space for friends and family. And not allowing what other people are doing to be distractions to my own life and my goals that I've set for myself, because those are their lives. Let people live their lives while you live yours, and everyone is doing their own thing, and that's 100% fine. So I don't believe in FOMO. I don't think the things that other people are doing should impact the things that I decide to do. It should always be about checking in with myself and determining whether or not this is something that's good for me. So the next guiding principle out of the 5 is choose your battles and speak up when needed. I spent so many time fighting other people's battles for them before I realized that people weren't fighting for me in the same way. And then also realizing these things that I saw as giant obstacles or giant issues didn't actually matter a couple days later or even an hour later. And realizing I'm giving way too much energy to things that are not serving me, and stepping back and deciding where my energy needs to be placed, because I'm thinking about focusing on myself, I'm thinking about focusing on my business, and then I'm thinking about what do I want to do. So choose your battles and speak up when needed doesn't mean that you're not actively participating in the conversations that you feel that are important or the causes that you believe in. It just means that the way that you engage with them is different. So for me, I'm very passionate about social justice issues, and I had spent so much time pounding the pavement and going to these protests and participating in these movements, but I had also set aside my studies, so I decided to merge my worlds, and that's how I chose to fight my battle and speak when needed, is by investing directly into my company that was serving the same ultimate mission for myself. So whether it's a confrontational person in your life or a business challenge that you're facing, negotiating a contract or a new deal, if you feel that it isn't of great value to you, or you feel that you've put too much energy into it, whether it can be a personal relationship, it can be an opportunity that you think you need, decide to step back and see how much better you feel once you've taken that weight off yourself by realizing, you know what, this actually isn't as important as I thought it was. And then the last thing that I really love to do is ignore people and opportunities that aren't for you. So being a new you, investing in your new you, ignoring people and opportunities that aren't for you is something that sounds easy in practice, but can be really challenging when you feel that you're never going to get that opportunity again. And I think that goes back to FOMO and going back to setting these expectations for yourself and for your company so that you can focus on those milestones that you set for yourself. Then it becomes easier when things pop up, like, oh, shiny accelerator, or somebody that I think I need to know, looking back at your milestones and going, does this actually serve me? And so there were many times where I was presented opportunities or grants or pitch competitions that I thought would be amazing to participate in or would help me get very far with my business, but didn't actually align with my values and where I wanted to take myself, and I had to ignore them. And instead of, not actively working towards those goals, I then doubled down on things that were relevant to me. So seeking out opportunities that were looking for me. Because the other thing is, you're going to hear no a lot. And I think it's so important to protect your time and protect your energy by limiting what you actually pursue and curating it, I should say, to the opportunities that are right for you, so that you get the yeses that you need and the opportunities that you deserve. So this is all that I've had to share with you guys. I really love the opportunity to talk to other female founders and young women in general about their goals, about their aspirations, and sharing some of the experiences that I've had that have helped me shape my own traction, my own company's growth, and my own personal growth. And when I say it, I truly believe that it's important for women to prioritize themselves, prioritize their personal goals, prioritize themselves. I mean that. I think it's very easy for people to set aside what they want in life. And the most powerful thing that you can say is no, because that protects you and that protects your time. So during this time, building your new self, building your company, working on whatever it is that you have, say no more and say yes to the right opportunities and the right people, and find your happy.